Hello, beautiful people. Today we are going to be talking about how to not feel lonely. Loneliness is something that I feel a lot of people deal with. I think it's something that we naturally can feel living in this world. It's definitely something that I have experienced a lot in my life. If that's something that you're feeling, this video is for you. Today I got some tea with me. You guys, listen, I love drinking tea, especially at nighttime. It just put me in the right mood. It got me feeling right and calm. I got some mint tea with me. I am a tea drinker at nighttime, and if you are watching this video at nighttime, make sure you get you some tea, sit with me, and let's talk it up. Before we get into this conversation, let me just take a sip of my tea. That tastes so good. There's so many different ways to feel lonely. Loneliness is just not one of those things that you feel when you are by yourself. You can feel lonely when you're with family. You can feel lonely when you're with your friends. You can feel lonely when you're at work. I mean, you can just feel lonely in a crowd of people. And I think that loneliness is something that comes when we don't have a relationship with ourselves. From my early teens to even my adulthood, loneliness is something that I felt all the time until one day I said to myself, I don't want to feel this way anymore. What is something that I must do so that I don't constantly feel this loneliness? It doesn't matter who I was with, where I went, I always felt this bit of loneliness within myself. And then one day I sat down with myself and I said, you know what? I really do believe that this loneliness comes from not knowing me the way that I need to know myself. And I think that's also the reason why so many people feel this loneliness. We deal with so many things on a daily basis and we don't really learn how to handle them, really learn how to heal through them, grow through them, and really know ourselves the way we ought to, the way that God knows ourselves. The first thing that I had to ask myself was, why do I feel this way? And I had learned that the world had taught me who I needed to be. My family was telling me the person that I needed to be. I said to myself, I never actually figured out who is Ashley. And it's something that you need to do with yourself and sit down with yourself and say, do I really know who I am, who I want to be, who I was made to be? And I don't think a lot of people know the answer to that. I don't think a lot of people know exactly who they are. And when I sat down with myself and I began to just talk with myself, because you talk with yourself, you can ask yourself a lot of questions, you live with you, and so you're always talking in your mind and you're always talking to yourself about how you feel about certain things. And so the best relationship that you can have outside of God is literally with yourself, because you are with you 24/7. You live in your mind, you live in your heart, you live within yourself. And so when you don't know who this person is, it can feel like you are living in confusion and always feeling lonely. I cannot say to you, just because you know all of you, you'll never feel loneliness sometimes, because you will. I believe that God naturally made us to have relationship, to have love in our lives, to have a significant other. That's not for everybody, but to have community. God puts so many people in the world, so naturally God created us for togetherness. So I always seen that there's going to be a natural longing to have others in our lives. But I mean, learning how to deal with that loneliness on a day-to-day basis is to learn who you are. And to learn who you are, you got to sit with yourself and ask yourself a whole bunch of questions every single day. Just like how when you're in a relationship, in a friendship, or your coworkers, you ask a lot of questions to get to know that person. And so you got to be able to be that way even with your own self. That tea is so good. Some of the things that I think we have to ask ourselves are, what makes me happy? What gives me joy? What helps me to feel fulfilled? What are the things that make me feel like I come alive? And whatever you find those answers to be, you've got to implement more of those things within your day. I've come to see that people who feel lonely, a lot of the times we live in our own minds. We live in our own worlds. And so your mind has to become a place of peace and fulfillment. And a lot of the times we have distractions, we have traumas, we have stress, we have things that we're dealing with emotionally. And when you don't learn to sit with those things and get to understand those things, get to know the root of those things, you'll always feel like you're drowning in loneliness because you don't know who this person is. I became my own best friend, and that's the thing. You've got to learn to be your own best friend. And it's okay, you can have best friends and have friends in your life, but you've got to be this person's best friend. And once you become close with you, you'll feel like you're just at peace, and you'll feel like a sense of wholeness. I believe that God created us for fulfillment. I believe that God created us for a relationship with Him, because God is the ultimate source of love. He's the ultimate source of joy. He's the ultimate source of peace. And when you have that relationship with Him, He'll begin to give Himself over to you, and you'll begin to feel a sense of that loneliness going away. And when you invite God into your life, into your heart, into your mind, He'll show you all the ways that you feel lonely and what places in your life are missing, what needs to be filled, and He'll guide you and He'll help you. And I can honestly say that because that's what I did. I invited God into my loneliness, and He showed me the path of where things were missing, what caused me to feel that way. And when I began to fix those things little by little, I felt the loneliness going away. God knows who we are, where we are, and what got us here. And He's got all the answers that we are seeking. We just have to get into the place where we're seeking for them, where we're searching for them. You know, we live in a world where there's information all over the place. And so you gotta be able to really be intentional about getting to know who you are and sitting with yourself. And the more you do that, I promise you, the more you begin to feel whole, and the more you'll start to feel like you're not alone. Well, I love you all so much, and don't forget to spend some time with yourself this week. I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.